Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the Team of the Year Cancelo to check out. The position changes on this card is going to make it a little bit more tough to try him out in the midfield position, which we're going to be doing anyways. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I think it was last year's game or 2 years ago. I think it was last year, actually. If you had the Team of the Season Cancelo card with the high work rate, he was genuinely very good. Okay, he was, in my opinion, one of the best midfielders in the game, even though he was a fullback, because once they gave him that work rate change, it completely changed the way that the card performed in the game. Right now, obviously in this card's case, we're going to be trying out the same exact thing, because the changes that they've done to him actually allows you to use him in the midfield positions depending on how your team is formatted. Because again, with these position changes, I don't know, maybe your center mid is someone that could play in the left back position because they're left footed, they have a good work rate. Like if you're working with variables like that and you want to switch a right footed player on the right side, then you could do that. Most people, however, are going to be using this card as an actual right back on a shadow chemistry style, to be honest with you. Okay, so we'll be trying him out on both. You know, in the left back position, I'll be able to test him out defensively too, because he even has the weak foot to work with as well. So like I said, 6 foot tall, high, right-footed, 4-star. That's amazing to work with. Player traits: he has early crosser, long shot taker, outside foot shot, technical dribbler. To be fair, all of those traits are fantastic, because if you're playing this new 4-3-2-1 system that I've showed you guys recently, right? Stay back while attacking overlap instruction is actually kind of helpful for a card like this, because to be honest, even though his shooting stats are where it's at, if you were to go for an outside foot shot because that opportunity presents itself to you, you could totally go for it, right? It's not going to be the best shooting because his shooting stats are not like super high unless you actually boost that yourself, but still in a decent situation regardless, right? So we're actually going to be trying out Cancelo on the shadow chemistry style as well as the engine, right? Because the shadow chemistry style, right, is going to give him very good pace with a fantastic work rate at a high on a 96 for stamina. So that's a big thing there. But then the other thing is that in the midfield setup, you know, sometimes you want cards to feel a little bit more responsive, and he still has decent defensive stats. So we're going to see what that's going to be like on the engine as well. So shooting, finishing is low, but shot power is in the higher side, which is definitely a plus for a card like this. Passing for a fullback that has a 4-star weak foot, that has a 91 for composure, is also very nice to work with. You know, dribbling on the card we'll be experimenting with, but guys, as a fullback, it's in a fantastic area as well, right? The 86 agility, 85 for balance. You won't really care too much about it on this card because, you know, in the past we've tried out that unique body type and honestly it was perfectly fine. Defensive stats will be massively increased on a shadow chemistry style. Defensive awareness is at an 89, sure, but he does have the high work rates, which adds that variable to the card, because from his rare gold version he's a high medium work rated player, right? So the new versions of these cards, from that midfielder to the Team of the Year version, are now high work rated. And then for physical stats, to be fair, it is on the lower side, so we kind of have to test that kind of stuff out as well with the card. So yeah, we'll be trying him out mainly in the left back position as well as the center mid position, because all we really need to try out is what the card's attack and defense is like. So yeah, we'll play him in those areas. We'll see how he plays. Hopefully he's a beast. That was a really good pass by Cancelo. Well done, Cancelo. It's cool to be able to make those passes with Cancelo if you actually use him in the left-sided area. Good, his skill move cancels are not like too heavy. That was a crazy pass, by the ways. I thought that was gonna go in. Well, he magnetized to that right away. Like, AI was on it. from a tough angle too. I like it. Now we're chilling. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Well, this is threatening to get out of hand. Just look at the scoreline.
I think it Cancelo. Yeah, it's wrong. Oh, those commands sometimes. When it does that, just press R1 right away. The players will come close to you, but it'll cancel that initial thing that the game registered. This is when I actually switched him into the midfield position because, you know, I wanted to test him out from what his previous card was like before, right? So we build up the play over here. He gets into a good position in that right center mid position, and because the shot is somewhat high percentage for the near post angle, we're actually able to score it regardless of the fact that we don't even have the shooting boost on the card, right? So this over here is when we actually started to experiment with him on an engine chemistry style, just to kind of test out his dribbling. So you'll be able to see here, no pressure on the card. He's able to do like sharp touches, right? Now, from what I noticed when I was playing him in the midfield position is that, again, offered a very good physical presence. It's a card that could potentially attack for you as well. But when I was using him in that midfield area, I really felt like I wanted to use him specifically in that right back position because, you know, with midfielders, again, you could totally use them there if you really want to, but it's a little bit tough with this card because of the position changes, right? I think he's like left back, left wing back, and right back, and that's not a problem because this is a card that, in my opinion, you are mostly going to be using in that right back position anyways, right? But yeah, just a couple of small things here to kind of show you guys, you know, if I wanted to work with a couple of L1 dribbles on an engine chemistry style, he would do a decent job. But I always feel like with a card like this, I still want to give him that shadow chemistry style to boost the defense as much as possible to fully utilize a card, because in a situation like that, you can kind of see the guy makes the pass and don't really get the ball. That could also be a situation where we do the second man press and he's just like, I don't feel like getting the ball today. Okay guys, so final verdict on the new Team of the Year Cancelo card. So we tried him out on both the engine chemistry style as well as the shadow chemistry style. Again, with a card like this, the main thing that you have to test out is obviously defensive capabilities, because he is mostly going to be a defender in your team. Most people will be playing him in the right back position because his position changes. They're a little like they're specific for the actual defensive positions, right? Like maybe if he had like a CDM spot there, then people would rotate him more often into that center mid area, but you'd have to do a lot of accommodating to put him in the team, right? Like you would have to have like a left-footed center mid or CDM that has the high pace, good work rates to push him into left back so you could put Cancelo into the midfield position. Now, here's the thing. The reason why I'm saying this, right, is because it's not worth putting Cancelo in the midfield as much as it was in the previous year, because in the previous year he was genuinely one of the best midfielders in the game. Okay, as a fullback, it was crazy. He was absolutely insane once they gave him the high work rates. He's not one of the best, but he plays it well, right? Because I don't know if you guys ever tried out this version of his card, right? So for me personally, even when I did the review for this card during that time period, I told you guys that I still prefer the OTW Ronaldo Sanchez, which, I mean, for obvious reasons, I think Ronaldo Sanchez is probably still expensive, to be honest with you. Let's take a look. So Ronaldo Sanchez, he's still 665k. That's actually insane. But okay, 665k. But Ronaldo Sanchez, you know, you guys know that guy. He has the Fifa trait. This guy's amazing. You give him a shadow chemistry style, he's a monster. Okay, but this Cancelo card was actually pretty solid as well in the midfield setup, you know, because they gave him the high work rates. He had the 4-star capabilities, right? And it was a card that can push forward and attack as well as defend because he has the defensive work rate. With the Team of the Year, I would still use the Ronaldo Sanchez over this card. You know what I'm saying? Like in last year's, if I had that higher Cancelo card, like no chance, you know? I actually enjoyed using this card quite a bit. I enjoyed using him because he strikes off all of the meta criteria as a player that you are mostly going to use as a right back. What's great about him, right, is the fact that he's a left back for Portugal, because as of right now, we do not have a Portuguese left back other than an informed Nuno Mendes card that is good for like a higher tier meta, right? So if I were to go check out the left backs that exist right now for the Portuguese national team, and I go to positions, left back, right? So let's take a look at the options that you have here. So obviously you have the more generic ones, right? Where there's like Guerrero, Nuno Santos, Wilson Manafa. But the main one here is Nuno Mendes. So you would have to get that card for it to make more sense. Obviously, the links is going to depend on the situation of your club, right? Because with him, he's a PSG player, Portuguese, but he's also left-footed, right? He's a left-footed player playing on that left side. But even though he's a left-footed player playing on that left side, I would still rather use this João Cancelo card over him, right? But in the right-back position, it's a little bit different because, to be honest with you guys, I don't know if you guys have actually ever tried out this Diogo Dalot card, but this card is genuinely very, very well formatted, right? Because when you give him the Shadow Chemistry style, he's actually an incredible right back as well, right? Because in his case, he's high work rate as well. He's got the average body type. He's 6 foot tall. Let me tell you something, okay? Between the two, the physical stats, it makes a difference, okay? Because Diogo Dalot's body type being average makes him kind of bigger in game. So when it comes to that body to body, when it comes to defensive animations, that physical presence is going to be fantastic to work with for a card that provides you Manchester United links, Portuguese links, you know, because the main thing that you're working with is Premier League and Portuguese, right? But obviously Cancelo, you can play in the left back position, so that adds a nice little cool variable to the card because he doesn't have to be left-footed in that left-sided area because he also has the 4-star weak foot. But even my play style, it actually works for Cancelo because I very rarely ever actually use the left foot of the fullback when I'm attacking. I cut back all the time, and so does everybody else. Like, you guys saw that one opportunity where I did some small little dribbles, open up the space for Saka, pass with the strong foot, left-footed strike, we score the opportunity because that's the majority of the attacking play in this game, right? So that's always things you have to consider, right? This Diogo Dalot card, I'm telling you, he is brilliant. He's honestly so good. I remember using him on Guiu's account and I was like, this guy is incredible. I never did his review, but he's so good. I honestly would be surprised if pro players didn't use him in the team to get links to like someone like Varane, who's, in my opinion, one of the best center backs in the game, right? So with Cancelo, the main concern with him, honestly, when I was using him, is sometimes lack of physical. That's it. It's just lack of physical. But the thing about him is that, to be fair to him, he does compensate by being pretty fast, right? So when it comes to transition speed and tracking back really quickly, even when you're manually using him, it works out well enough, right? Because the pace is essentially perfect, and then the defense is really high up there. But obviously with his unique body type, it's a little thinner than it is like on an average with Diogo Dalot, but him making or them making him thinner also allows him to dribble a little bit better too, and also work with the 4-star skills. So it just depends on what you're looking for, because I think with 4-star skills, honestly, sometimes being able to do a Burba spin and a Coqueta in the fullback position when you have them on overlap is a very helpful thing to work with, because it makes your play less linear and you don't have to kind of force certain passes as you would with Diogo Dalot. So if you're using an overlap player, you use Cancelo. If you use, I mean, to be fair, if you're using stay back overlap on Diogo Dalot, it wouldn't be horrible either. You just lack in the skill move department. So it just depends on what you're looking for. But genuinely, the only thing is just lack of physical. But the card's actually pretty good in game. Really enjoyed using it for what it was. So remember, you can put him in the midfield setup, but it's not as vital to do as it was on that team of the, I think it was a team of the season last year, right? When they gave him the high work rates, it was that one. It's not as vital to do, but you can do if you want to, and he'd still play it well because it's like an improved version of this card right here, which was actually pretty solid to work with in the midfield too. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.